What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for The Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 6, episode 13. The episode was out on GVO or GTFO, you guys. Alright, guys, so before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, then I'm going to need you guys to stop taking me out on this date. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, and share the video, all that stuff, you guys. So with that out the way, let's go ahead and just discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, shall we? Alright, guys, let's start up with Mia. So we see Mia, and Mia, excuse me, I didn't even burp me out face. Mia and Gordon, they're packing for this trip. You guys remember in the last episode that Wendy suggested that the ladies go to Chesapeake, right? So that's what she's doing. So while she's packing, Mia talks to Gordon about the fact that she's leaving the kids there with her mother, and she is a little worried about it, right? Which is interesting to me, the fact that you're worried about leaving your kids with your mother, but that's been your whole thing this entire season, is spending, you spending time with your mother and the kids spending time with your mother. But okay, I guess. So then she's, G says he's not too excited about this trip, right? Because, I don't know why. I don't really get why he wasn't excited about the trip, because once he got on the trip, G turned into a different person, right? So then she tells, G about what happened with she and Candace, right? At the reasonably shady, at the party, right? When she told her about the fact that, Candace called her mom a low budget and all that kind of stuff, it really honestly looked like G couldn't give one iota about that, right? Because G was just looking at her like, okay, and what are you telling me for? Because I was just looking at his facial expressions. G is not like, any of the other husbands, more specifically, the Hobbit. Because y'all know the Hobbit would be jumping at the bits to get on this trip to say something to Candace and to Chris. But G ain't fazed by it. What's another husband in house? Patricia. Peter Thomas. That would have been a husband that would have said something as well. But G doesn't give a shit. And I like that. Let's move on, you guys. Alright, guys. Now let's talk about Candace. So we see Candace and Chris. They're at home, right? So Chris is telling Candace that, the video, the 2 videos that they filmed will be back that week, right? So Drive Back, and I believe the other one I haven't saw, which I think it's the Benefit song. I haven't saw that video. You need to check it out, right? So what they're going to do when they get those back, she has 3 edit cuts. What they're going to do is they're going to send 2 clips to this guy over at E1, right? So then Candace is telling Chris about the party as well. You know how when she pulled up and she got out the car, went down that steep driveway that Giselle has. And, the fact that she asked Mia if Mia was asking her mother if Chris was getting paid for the video shoot, right? So she says that Mia says, well, I didn't say it, maliciously or with, harmful intent, which Mia didn't say it with any malice or anything, which she really didn't. I'll give her that, right? She wasn't saying it with malice, but she was being shady, though. That was shady. Like, why are you asking if this woman's husband is getting paid for this job? That has absolutely nothing to do with you. So, yeah, it just had nothing to do with you. So I just didn't understand why she was asking that question. So then, Candace tells Chris that she called the video shoot bootleg and that she called her mama bootleg. And then she's telling him about, this couple trip they're getting ready to go on, right? I think we all feel the same way. I think we're all cool with everyone going, with the exception of the Hobbit and the Troll. So let me pause right here real quick with the episode, and let's just talk. it's a lot of people that I be seeing on social media that I wonder, like, how, like, y'all are older and y'all have this mentality of, oh, if you say this, oh shit, man, I'm remembering your face again. If you say this, I'm a pop you. Y'all have this mentality of pop, hitting people, right? Okay, you know, you do know if you hit a person, you do know that that is what? Assault. So, yeah. And you're not filming a reality show, so you can't get away with it like Monique got away with it, right? But the thing is, I see a lot of people saying, you know, Candace had one more time to say your mama, and I would have popped, I would have hit her. Or a lot of people like, that's why Monique hit her in the first place. We'll get to that part in a little bit. But the your mama stuff, y'all don't say shit about when y'all found some people found it funny when Heavenly was saying your mama to Mariah for all your mama this, your mama that. People found it funny. And then, you know, I used to feel that as well when I was younger, right? I used to feel that way. Like the first time you say something about my mama, I'm gonna hit you right in your mouth, right? But then as I've gotten older, I'm like, you know, you don't know my mother. So why am I getting offended by you saying something about my mother, a person you've never met and you will never meet? So I'm like, why am I gonna get upset about that? You don't know my mama. You don't know what she's been through, what she went through. Like, you don't know her. So I'm not about to get upset about somebody saying my mama. And if they say my mama, well, you know what? We're not gonna say that. But if they say my, you know, I'm just not gonna get in my feelings about that. And I don't understand it. But hey, let's move on. All right, you guys, let's talk about Boy Robin. I actually could have done without Boy Robin in this episode and her little big head ass friend, Hey Arnold Stewie. Could have done without both of them. So, Hey Arnold Stewie, aka Ashley, they're over at the house with Boy Robin, right? So, now I will say, Lil Dylan, he's cute, right? So, Boy Robin is talking about the house because, you know, she's talking about her house and how she hopes that is, you know, they're able to live in it within the next 2 months. Don't care. Period. Point blank. You know what? That is so hilarious, right, you guys? So, my best friend and I, we were texting. She texted me the other day, right? She texted me about Portia leaving Housewives of Atlanta. And, you know, she's like, she don't think she's going to watch this season of Atlanta. And then I told her, I was like, well, I asked her, like, have you ever started watching Potomac? Because I watched Potomac and she didn't get into it at that first season. She did not like it. But now she loves Potomac. She told me, yeah, I watched Potomac. She was like, oh, God, I cannot believe she. Because typically we like the same people, right? Because like I said, we watched Atlanta together. We've been watching Atlanta for years together. And we loved Portia and we loved Nene. I loved Nene when she was fun. You know, if she, I know they're trying to get her, neither nor there. But my best friend told me she likes Robin, of all people, and Giselle. But number one is Ashley Robin. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, I cannot stand either one of them. She doesn't like Ascala, and she doesn't like Wendy. But I like both of those two, Wendy and Ascala. But yeah. So, Boy Robin is still calling Wendy an asshole. I'm like, but you were an ass to her as well. Like, you were rude. Wendy didn't say anything to you, so whatever. So, Hey Arnold Stewie says, well, hopefully, you know, with us getting out of, you know, getting out of this area and going somewhere new scenery and everything, hopefully that can give us a reset. Well, that was until she talked about the fact that Saturn's Rings, aka Giselle, sent them a text message saying that she just didn't feel welcomed. I was like, oh, okay, girl, whatever. And then Boy Robin tells her, enjoy the trip. So then, Hey Arnold Stewie, she says that Michael's not coming. I'm like, thank the Lord that creep is not coming. And then Boy Robin says she don't feel like she can be herself or speak her mind around Wendy. It's not the fact that you can't be yourself or speak your mind around Wendy, right? That was never the issue. It was the fact that you called the woman loose. Like, I think you suffer from amnesia. You called her loose. That was her problem with you. The fact that you called her loose. Loose. Say it with me. Loose. You called the woman loose. That was the issue. It wasn't the fact that you know, because it just wasn't that. You called her loose. How do you think somebody's gonna feel when you call them loose? Exactly. But let's move on. All right, guys. Next up, let's talk about Wendy. So with Wendy, it really wasn't much for her in this episode until we got to Chesapeake, right? So we see Wendy. Wendy is getting ready, packing for the trip. Eddie comes in and they have a conversation, right? They're talking about who all is going to be coming on the trip, right? I'm just thankful that the Hobbit is not coming. That was the only person that did not want to come. But see, let's dial back real quick, right? So she invited all the ladies and their men on the trip. Well, Giselle and Giselle and her luggage, they were invited as well. Or Giselle and Cal, they were invited, right? Because those are the only people that she's gonna. That's all Giselle's gonna have with her, right? It's either her or her luggage, or her and Cal. Nobody else. Now I looked at the preview for next week's episode, right? Boy, Robin showed up by herself, but you were just so upset about Wendy, and think about something about her, she doesn't believe in your relationship, girl. Not a lot of people believe in your relationship. Just gonna keep it real with you. I mean, you're gonna have an issue. So I hope that at the reunion, that you have an issue with the fact that Karen has said shit about your relationship in the interview. I hope you have an issue with that. I really hope you have an issue with that at the reunion, that Karen has said some shit, because Karen has. So, boy, Robin and Saturn's rings, I think they've just been grasping at straws to have an issue with someone. But when it says, she informed them like, hey, you guys are all invited to this trip, like, but the thing is, they're gonna come, especially boy Robin. She's gonna come because she needs the paycheck. Like, you can't, like, if you're not on the episode, you're not getting paid. So boy Robin will have her ass at that on that trip. Trust you me, she'll be there. And Saturn's rings will be there too, to do something about that tacky ass house. God, that house is atrocious. But she'll be there. They'll both be there. Let's move on, you guys. You guys, so it's something that I found very interesting, right? The fact that Karen and Hey Arnold Stewie are cool with each other. I just really find that quite interesting, right? Because those two have argued with each other since season 1, right? Or 2. Those two have been arguing since. But you know what? I think I figured it out. They got close after the whole situation last season. I think that they got cool with each other because they were cool with, said person who I'm not going to mention until the end of the video. I'm trying to eat that in front of y'all. So, Ray is not going to show up on the trip until the next day, right? He didn't say why. He just said he's going to meet them later, right? So, Karen, I really need you to stop having Ray live shit, right? Ray is old as hell. That is elder abuse. I mean, that man look like his back be about to give out when he be lifting shit for you. I'm like, oh, poor Ray. Like, don't break your back, Father Time. Please don't break your back. Now, I'm going to ask this. God, Ashley. Hey, Arnold, Stewie, Ashley. Girl. Ugh. I know that's your family, but girl, I did not need to see you. Well, you and the kids are cute, right? You and the kids, but cut the Hobbit out. She got that big ass picture of him. I'm like, ugh. Ugh. You know something I just thought about? She said Michael wasn't coming on the trip, right? Michael's not coming. Why? You can't blame it on Chris and Candace. Why is Michael not coming? Interesting question, right? Why is Michael not coming on this trip? You ought to be worried about who he's with. Now, I know some people will say, isn't it a coincidence that Juan is not coming and Michael is not coming, right? But the thing with Juan is, Juan never comes on any of the cast trips if they have the men there. Juan Actually, he doesn't. Because last season at Monique's house, when they all went to Monique's house, Juan didn't show up. So why is Robin so upset? I just thought about that. Girl, why are you so upset? History has shown Juan doesn't come. Okay. See, again, grasping at fucking straws. But let's move on, you guys. All right, guys. And then let's talk about this. Get to this trip, right? So, oh, damn. I didn't know I had that much. All right. So, Wendy and Eddie, they show up at the house. The house is nice. Okay. So, Mia and G show up behind them. Now, here's a question that I have. You know, because everyone has had such an issue with what Wendy wears. Wendy's titties are out. Wendy's ass is out. Wendy's this is out. But when Mia and G showed up, Mia had on a blouse, right? It was open right here. Now, granted, you can see it. Mia has on a flesh tone bra. But you can still see her cleavage. So, if Wendy is walking around with her, if Wendy can't even wear a top, and you can just see the top of her breast. You can just see up here. You can see up here. You can't see through here. Wouldn't Mia then also not have substance? Okay, I got a lot of questions because we're gonna talk about this a little bit in depth, right? Yeah, because somebody argued with me that there was no colorism on the Real Housewives of Potomac. There's colorism, you guys. It's very obvious that there's colorism. You guys might want to be oblivious to it. You guys might not want to see it. You guys might not want to call it out. But JB, he will call shit out when he sees it, right? So that's the first thing. The fact that Mia can walk around with her, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong. I don't have an issue with what Mia was wearing, nor have I ever had an issue with what Wendy has worn this season. I'm just making a parallel. Wendy can't show her breast, period, because I don't want to look at I don't want to see your body. Mia, y'all ain't got no issue. Well, that's because the two haters haven't made it yet. But yeah. So what makes her so different? So Wendy says that they have a thing with this weekend is GVO, good vibes only, or Candace actually said that GTFO, get the fuck out of here, right? Get the fuck out. So Mia is talking about the fact that she's worried about her kids being with her mother. I'm like, then why did you do that? Like, if you're so worried about your children being with your mother, why did you leave your children with your mother in the first place? Like, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, if I'm going to worry about my kids an entire weekend, I'm not going to leave my kids with somebody that I don't feel is trustworthy. Because that's really what you're saying. You don't trust your mother with your kids, which is a terrible thing. I mean, that's really hard. Damn. Like, I don't know if Mia caught that, but you're saying you don't trust your mother. I don't know if she caught that. That's why I say Mia's a contradiction. Oh, and I actually have that right here in the nose. Ma'am, you're a bit of a contradiction. So we see Karen and Hey Arnold Stewie, they're in the car on their way there, right? And, you know, Hey Arnold Stewie's asking about the wedding planning, and Karen is letting her know what's going on with the wedding planning, that she's been planning herself, and that she's going to invite Giselle. And Ray shaded the hell out of Giselle, saying, well, who is she gonna bring? It's just gonna be the hairdresser. You're right, it is gonna be Cal. God, does Cal do her hair for everything? Like, I have that question. Because she was on Watch What Happens Live last night, right? And actually, she was on Watch What Happens Live, and she actually looked great. I will say that. Giselle looked nice for once. Minus them ugly ass boots she had on. But if you just took away them hooker boots that she had on, she looked perfect. She looked great. And that's saying a lot. But her hair. Sometimes her hair be a whole ass mess. Where we at, right? G. Let's move back over to the house in Chesapeake. G is a whole fucking lot, right? G, they taking shots, right? G is getting turned all the way up, right? Um, G is talking about how he, talking about the strip club and how, him and Mia go, but he goes so that she can scope people. I'm like, oh, so you're looking at your own coworkers? Okay. So then she says he likes white girls. I'm like, okay, nothing's wrong with that. But y'all catch it? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Look at Mia. He likes white women, right? Mia, actually, Mia could pass slightly, and it's really just because of her face. You know what? I was looking at Mia's face last night. Mia's face looks like a cat. She looks very feline-ish. She looks like a cat. Now, when G was talking about or I'm like, G, buddy, I don't ever need to see those motions from you or any of. I don't need to see any of that from you ever again. It was disgusting. I don't want to know nothing about your dick. So then G gets a call. So he's getting me a customized G-Wagon for their anniversary, right? Now, when he told her to shut the fuck up, I was like, oh, wow. And she wasn't fazed by that. I'm like, okay. He said that plenty of times to me before, right? Get shut the fuck up. Now, me personally, I will say shut the fuck up to somebody, but I don't particularly care to say it. Like, I don't particularly care to say shut the fuck up, right? Because I feel like when you say shut the fuck up, that's really harsh. So I'll just say, shut up. Be quiet. Let me talk. Now, if you don't let me talk, then I'll be like, damn, will you just shut the fuck up? I'll do that, but just to come out, that be the first thing I say, shut the fuck up? No. No, that's not my first reaction. And then he said it. I'm like, wow. So we actually met a scholar. We met a scholar's husband, Dre. Wasn't what I was expecting. So, when a scholar came in, G asked, "Who the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Well, damn." She said, "A scholar." He says, "Oh." Then he said, "I've heard so much about you." So I'm guessing that they've talked about. Well, you know what? I guess he had never met a scholar, so that's why he said, "Who the fuck is that?" So we see Candace and Scarlett and Wendy. They're talking about, how G is and how much of a lot he is, right? So Candace says that she feels that G is similar to the Hobbit, right? They're both older men with these younger women, and they've already done the monogamy thing, and now they don't want, now they're at a different space in their life, right? Which I can see that. Because I told one of my, my subscribers that when I saw that clip, I'm like, he gives me the Hobbit vibes. But I don't think G is a sexual predator like the Hobbit is, but he did. I mean, like I said, I was like, oh God. So he gets liquor in his system and he goes that far? Oh no. We can't do that. So Mia comes in, right? And she's like, "You guys, what are you guys talking about?" And they asked her, I'm like, "Did G tell you to shut the fuck up?" She said he probably did. Candace and me and Escal were like, "Girl, that's not something you do in front of mixed company," which it really isn't, right? So then, Wendy talks about the your mama comment. And here we go with Mia and her bossness. I'm a boss bitch. Like, that's all she tweets about, is that she's a boss bitch. And that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up to, like, everybody had a big issue last season with the fact that Wendy kept talking about her 4 degrees, right? But Mia talks about the fact that she's a boss so much. So why are y'all not upset? Why are people not upset with Mia? Like, damn, Mia, we get it. You run a company. Actually, she says it quite a bit. Like, we get it. You run G's company. Okay, congratulations. What do you want? A motherfucking cookie? Because it does actually annoy me. Just like when Wendy was talking about her 4 degrees, that annoyed me. This annoys me equally, right? But it just annoys me. And there we go once again with what? The colorism. Y'all, yeah, but again, there's no colorism on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Just because it's not overt and it's in your face like with Basketball Wives, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? There's a such thing as it being subtle. Like, people can be like with racism. Y'all do know people might not be outwardly racist, right? They might show subtle hints of racism. You just have to you got to look at things. Just be observant of things, right? No racist is going to be outwardly, oh, I hate niggers. Oh, I hate this group of people. Oh, I hate that person. Oh, I hate that. Hate that. Hate that. Just like with a colorist. They're not going to outwardly say, oh, I hate dark-skinned black women. Like, y'all do realize just because you guys saw one version of colorism on Basketball Wives that was in your face. Like, I didn't watch that, so I don't really know the logistics of what happened, but I've definitely watched, other people's reviews. I watched when Scotty did the panel where they were discussing colorism. Like, you guys do realize that does happen. And it's like I just said, it's not as in your face as you would probably like to believe. It can be subtle, and with this show, it's just subtle versions of colorism for me. You guys might not agree, but hey, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. So I do like the fact that, because G and Chris were talking, right? And they were talking about the drama. He found it funny about the low budget comment. So G is not going to get involved in this shit, right? Now, y'all know I really said it, like, I don't like Mia, right? I don't like Mia. Candace didn't apologize for the your mama comment. She just said it just came out because, they were talking about, she was talking to her mother. So they argued with each other, right? And Mia's friend called and Candace like, yeah, let her take that call so she can, so she doesn't have to deal with this or something to that extent, right? So then she's talking about, her friends are rich and this and that, not like these broke bitches. I was like, these broke bitches. Yeah, I want to have time for Mia. I would have pushed Mia down them stairs, keeping it real with you. I would have pushed Mia. I would have tripped her, done something to her. So Karen and Hey Arnold Stewie show up, right? So Mia, none of your clapbacks are, because you called her candy ass, right, in the interview, right? I'm like, you got that from Twitter, because that's what people call Candace on Twitter all the time, candy ass. I'm like, you got that from Twitter. Mia's not original. Well, hell, what do we expect? Her face is not original. Her body's not original. Nothing about Mia is original. So what do we expect, right? So Mia and Mia and Candace got into it after Hey Arnold Stewie asked the question of what's going on, and Mia was like, Candace is being mean to me. You mean to tell me you can't handle Candace being mean to you? The fuck? See, this is my issue with a lot of people, right? Y'all can't handle words. Have y'all never heard age-old? My grandmother used to tell me this all the time. Because I told you guys, I used, like, as a kid, I was one of those kids that if you say something to me about my mom, anybody, I'm gonna be ready to fight you, right? But I got out of that. I had to grow out of that. Because my grandma said to me, she was like, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt me, right? That's true. But then also one time she asked, because somebody said that, I told her, I was like, somebody was saying something about you. And she's like, well, do they know me? I said, no, they don't know you. She says, okay, then, well, why does what someone else say about me matter to you who doesn't know me? Why does it matter? And I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? Like, if you don't know my mother, why does it make sense? Why do I care? Why do I give a shit? That's right, I don't give a shit, right? Then I saw people talking about, yeah, people talked about Monica, right? This is a long ass review. I didn't mean for it to be long, but people were talking about Monique yesterday on Twitter. This is why she hit Candace. This is why Mia called Monique, right? If you guys have that mentality of when we get into an argument with each other that you have to resort to putting your hands on me, you're a child. You're literally a child. If you feel that just because I obliterated you with my words, that you then have to obliterate me by hitting me. you're a weak ass individual. If you feel that way, you're a weak ass individual. Sorry to say it. Well, I'm not sorry. That's how I feel. I think you're a weak ass individual if you had to resort to putting your hands on a person low as a fuck. That's low budget. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the review episode. Leave your comments in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else, and share the video. And until the next one, stay safe, take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, you guys. Have a good one. Bye, guys.